Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Science rules.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Inertia is a property of matter.
Bill Nye. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Megan and Christine.
Hey, it's Megan and Christine again.
And today on the show we're going to be looking at fungi and how climate change can affect it. But first, where does fungi grow?
Well, fungi can grow anywhere you think, like a bathtub or the fridge or even under the bed.
So really, mold can grow anywhere at any time, even when you're playing your favorite video games. But on how fast it grows depends on the environment, which brings us to climate change.
Now for the experiment of the day. We're going to see how climate change affects the rate of growth of fungi in different environments.
So before you start every experiment, you have to make a prediction. And we predict that if the humidity in an environment increases, then the rate in which the fungi grows will also increase.
So first we need to gather our materials.
What we need is some plastic Ziploc bags, bread, and some spores of fungi that you can find around the house.
So just pat the bread on a dusty surface.
And that will do, because that's fungi. So with our experiment, we chose 4 different environments to place our bread in. 1, we have control, just the regular temperature. 2, we have a heated one to simulate heated areas.
3, we put one in the fridge for a cold environment. And 4, we wetted one down so it would have a moist environment. So this bread is going to be our heated environment. We're going to place it under the fridge at 80 degrees Celsius. We're going to place our second bread in the refrigerator at 7 degrees Celsius.
We'll put the control one on top of the fridge, which is at room temperature. And for the moist bread, we're going to apply a little bit of water, then seal it into the Ziploc bag, and also put it on top of the fridge at room temperature. And now we wait. And it's been 2 weeks, so let's go check on our molds. This is the control bread we put a week ago. As you can see, there's a little splotches of mold. Green, blue-green, penicillium mold. And there's a little on the back. Now, and here's the control mold from 2 weeks ago. Now you can see that both the front and the back is basically covered in the penicillium mold. And here's the moist mold bread that we put in just a week ago. And there's some green-blue again, so it's penicillium, and then there's some splotches of white, more blue, and on the back it's still pretty. And it's very, very moist. Like the moisture has taken over the whole bread. It's moist compared to when we first put it in. And here's the moist bread from 2 weeks ago. As you can see, it's covered fully in mold. Yes, this does look like bread, but it's actually spores that have been produced by this mold. It's very squishy and it's tearing apart. And right here, actually, it's very hard. It's a hard spot. Yes.
And this is our bread that we put in the fridge 2 weeks ago. There's no mold on the front, but as you can see, there's a tiny bit on the back. This one also feels quite hard. Here's our heated bread from a week ago. There's no mold on it, and it does feel kind of hard too. Here is our heated one from 2 weeks ago. It is absolutely covered in mold, and it feels stale around the edges and soft in the middle.
So from the results, we can gather that the moist bread has the most mold growing on it. It even had spores. Then it was the control bread. It was covered with mold, but didn't have any spores.
The heated bread was also mostly covered in mold, but not as much as the control bread. And the bread that we had in the fridge had little to no mold growing on it.
So from that, we can see that mold likes to grow in more humid places, which means with climate change, if it increases humidity in other places, then mold populations will grow there.
And in colder places, like here in Canada or even farther up north, mold doesn't like to grow.
Oh, looks like we ran out of time, but tune in next week on our segment about viruses.
On Bill Nye the Science Guy with Christine and Megan.
Stay tuned, Arthur's up next. Hey.
T minus 7 seconds.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Megan and Christine.